So you're thinking about making a move to the Elk Grove area. Now, we've done videos about Elk Grove in the past. We've done pros and cons. We've done some of the best neighborhoods. We've also done some high-level overview of everything that you need to know if you're thinking about moving or relocating to Elk Grove. But in today's video, we're gonna do all of that in one. So this is the only video that you're gonna need if you're thinking about making the move to Elk Grove. So we're gonna give you 5 pros, we're gonna give you 5 cons, we're gonna give you 5 different neighborhoods, and we're gonna take you around to Elk Grove and share with you what some of our favorite pros are about Elk Grove, what some of the cons that we don't like about Elk Grove are, and 5 neighborhoods that you should keep on the lookout if you're thinking about making the move to Elk Grove in 2024.
Let's check it out. All right, so jumping right into it, the first thing we want to do is we want to give you a high-level overview of Elk Grove, where it's located, and some of the things that you need to know about Elk Grove, California, if you're thinking about making the move here. Now, Elk Grove is a part of Sacramento County, and it's going to be the largest city behind Sacramento, larger than Roseville. So it's a really big area. It's located on the southern side of Sacramento between Highway 5 and Highway 99. Now, being that Elk Grove is so big, it does have a very large population. It has a population of around 180,000 people, and it spans about 42 square miles. So it is a very, very large area.
Now, Elk Grove is one of the most popular cities that you guys reach out to us about on this channel. So we wanted to make sure that we did a fully comprehensive video. So there's a lot of reasons why Elk Grove tends to be such a hot topic or such a popular city with you guys. One is going to be its proximity and location to Sacramento. And then one of the other reasons is you have a little bit of everything for everybody as it relates to housing. It's a completely self-contained city. So if you didn't want to travel beyond the city limits, you can stay in Elk Grove and you're still going to have all the amenities that you would need. But we're going to cover all of that stuff as we start diving into some of these neighborhoods and some of our pros and cons. So let's jump into it. All right, so the first neighborhood that we're gonna take you to is actually gonna be the Sheldon neighborhood. Now, the Sheldon neighborhood is going to be probably one of the furthest east neighborhoods. It's gonna be a pretty massive area, and it's gonna be located on kind of either side of Grant Line Road as you're going east, kind of towards Amador County or Highway 16. So one of the things that actually makes this area of Elk Grove very special is this neighborhood, or this area called Sheldon, is actually gonna have a very like ranch rural kind of agricultural feel. So this part of Elk Grove is probably one of my favorite parts of Elk Grove because it just has that kind of small, kind of country timey vibe as it relates to, you know, Elk Grove. I know I used to come out here to the Wrangler a long time ago before it was the Why Not Club. But man, that place was like kind of just an old school country bar, nowhere close to where I lived up in Lincoln. It's actually probably the furthest thing from Lincoln. So a lot of the homes in this area are actually gonna be, you know, kind of built between the 70s and the 90s. There's gonna be a mix between the ranch rural properties that we talked about, and there's gonna be a couple of tract home developments that are gonna be kind of on one side of Grant Line Road. Now, the price range in this particular neighborhood of Sheldon is gonna range anywhere from the mid 500s, and you're gonna see properties that are gonna go north of $2, $3, $4 million. Now, obviously, some of those 500, 600, 700K homes are going to be more of your tract homes or your traditional kind of properties that you see in suburban neighborhoods. And some of those properties that are going to be north of $2, $3 million are going to be, you know, acreage properties that are going to have anywhere from 1 acre to 10 acres, 15 acres, depending on what you find at the time that you're looking for it. Now, the first pro that I'm going to talk about on this video is going to be the education for Elk Grove. Now, Elk Grove is going to have some of the best public education in the greater Sacramento metro as it relates to some of the cities that you hear us talking about when we're talking about Folsom and Granite Bay, Roseville, Rockland, El Dorado Hills. Elk Grove is going to be right there in the mix. Now, one of the things that we love about the education in Elk Grove is it is all one unified school district from the elementary all the way up to the high school. So the cool thing is there's going to be a ton of schools that are going to be sprinkled all throughout the Elk Grove area. You're going to have different neighborhoods that are going to have elementaries that are going to be probably within walking or a short drive. Then you're going to have middle schools. They may be also within walking to a short drive. And then Elk Grove is gonna have a ton of high schools, but especially if you're a family that has kids at multiple different ages and stages of life, the nice thing about Elk Grove being all one unified school district, the school breaks tend to line up a little bit better than some of the other areas that we've highlighted on this channel, where maybe the elementary school is different than the high school district, is different from the middle school district. So that's kind of one of the best things that we love about Elk Grove. There's like 6 or 7 different high schools. You've got Sheldon High School, Franklin, Monterey Trail, you've got the original Elk Grove High School, you've got Laguna Creek, and you're gonna have Pleasant Grove High School. So I would say Elk Grove probably has the most amount of high schools as relates to within one city. Now, leading me into my first con for Elk Grove, especially when we're talking about this particular area in general, is gonna be the allergies and the potential for flooding. So we are pretty close to a town called Wilton. So one side of Sheldon is going to be a little bit closer to Wilton, and a couple years back, we did see some massive heavy rains where a lot of parts of Wilton was actually underwater and it was very difficult to get to. So there are parts of Elk Grove that are going to be on that Sheldon side or on that Wilton side of Grant Line Road that are going to be potentials for flooding. So we're in spring right now, and there is a massive opportunity for allergies right now. So you're also a little bit closer to the Central Valley, which also has its own set of allergies that are just unique to its own right. So that's going to be our first con, is going to be allergies, and then also kind of this particular area of Elk Grove has the potential for flooding, especially if you're on that Wilton side of Grant Line Road. So Lauren's going to take you into the next neighborhood, and we'll keep on going.
All right, now the next neighborhood we're gonna share with you is gonna be Stone Lake. Now, Stone Lake is conveniently located super close to Interstate 5. So if you have to travel a lot for work or maybe up into Sacramento, this neighborhood's really, really convenient because you're located super close to Interstate 5. Now, one of the other things about Stone Lake that I absolutely love is the convenience, because this community is super close to a ton of great restaurants. It's close to shopping. You don't really have to travel super far away from the neighborhood to accomplish any of your everyday tasks, like grocery shopping or going to any stores or any like last minute things that you need to go pick up. Everything's probably only about a 5 or 10 minute drive unless you need to get into Sacramento. So that's really convenient. Now, Stone Lake also has its own clubhouse, which is super cool. It's this pretty big facility. So it's really kind of a cool community center where everybody in this neighborhood can gather. They do different events there throughout the year. So that's really, really fun. So if you're looking for a neighborhood that has really a great community vibe, Stone Lake is definitely going to be that, because everything is kind of centered around this clubhouse. And the clubhouse is really, really nice. It's really pretty. It's a great facility. I love all of the different events they do throughout the year. So I know they do something at Easter, which we just had. They also do events during 4th of July, so that's super convenient as well. They also have a really cool park. They've got bocce ball courts, they've got basketball courts, so that's super, super fun. Now, in this neighborhood, homes can range. They can go anywhere from 1,500 square feet up to 3,000 square feet or more. Now, homes here can be your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, all the way up to 5+ bedrooms with tons of space for a really large family. You can kind of see some of the nice houses behind me. It's really, really just a really well-kept, pretty neighborhood. They've got sidewalks, so it's convenient for, you know, families of kiddos. If you've got kids that like to ride their bikes outside, there's a bunch of trails that weave in and out throughout this neighborhood. So I really, really like that too. It's just really a kind of a family-friendly oriented neighborhood. It's really clean. And you just kind of have like peace and quiet here. It's not loud. Right now, homes in this neighborhood can be a little bit pricier because it is one of the higher sought out neighborhoods in Elk Grove. And because of just kind of that family vibe, family atmosphere, a lot of people want to move to this neighborhood, especially with all the different things that they have to offer when it comes to the clubhouse as well. Now, one of the things I really like about this neighborhood is that you kind of have a variety of homes. The homes don't all look the same. You've got some really large 2-stories. You've got single stories that are large homes as well. So if you're looking for a single story, you can find that in this neighborhood. So that's super, super nice. So Stone Lake is definitely one of my favorite neighborhoods. So if you're in the Elk Grove area, or if you're thinking about making a move to Elk Grove, it's definitely a neighborhood that you're gonna wanna check out. Now on to my pro for Elk Grove. Now my pro for Elk Grove is gonna be, this is a safe community and it also has a ton of diversity. So if you're looking to move to a city or a suburb that has a safe community, a safe atmosphere, as well as offers a lot of diversity, Elk Grove is gonna be a great place. Now, The city is known for its diverse culture. They do a ton of different festivals throughout the year directly in Elk Grove that celebrates the different cultures and the different people that live in this area. So I absolutely love that. I love that they focus on all of the different people here and that they really try to make everybody feel included in Elk Grove. Now let's talk about the safety side of things that I just mentioned. Now normally we shy away from talking about safety ratings or safety in some of these videos, and it's not because safety is bad, but safety all kind of comes down to your own personal beliefs and what you consider to be safe versus not safe. Now, one thing to note is that Elk Grove actually rates as one of the safer cities in the greater Sacramento region when it comes to crime ratings compared to other areas in the greater Sacramento metro. Now let's talk about my con for Elk Grove. Now, my con is going to be not necessarily related to all of Elk Grove, but it's going to be related to if you're looking at purchasing new construction in Elk Grove. So if you're looking at purchasing new construction in Elk Grove or buying a brand new home from one of the builders out here, that part of town is going to lack in amenities. So one thing people probably know is when they build new homes or new communities, usually it's on the outskirts of town, or in like maybe an area that recently got incorporated or is unincorporated. But one of the things is that when they build these new communities don't have a ton of amenities. So maybe you don't have a grocery store that's super close by. You don't have a ton of shops or restaurants or fast food chains that are close by. So if you're looking to purchase new construction home in Elk Grove, the thing to note is that the amenities are going to be not as close as some of the other areas. So that would be a con to Elk Grove if you're looking at purchasing new construction.
All right, so we're gonna take a real quick break. Just wanna remind you guys that we are licensed real estate agents in the state of California, which means that as much as we love making these videos, we actually love helping you more with all of your real estate needs of relocating to the greater Sacramento metro or Elk Grove specifically. So that phone number is gonna be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love when you guys reach out to us. So go ahead and reach out to us, shoot us a text or a phone call, whatever works best for you, so that way we can start to put together a game plan of what it's gonna be like for you guys to move to the greater Sacramento metro. Now, our third neighborhood that we're taking you over to today is actually going to be Camden Park, or the Camden Park neighborhood. Now, this is probably my new favorite neighborhood in Elk Grove. As you can kind of sense a theme, we've got some water. I love all of the different neighborhoods in Elk Grove that are surrounded by water. This is just a super peaceful, kind of serene area, just kind of flipping around the camera here. So you've got like these beautiful walking trails. Now, we actually found this neighborhood through some clients of ours. Obviously, Elk Grove is a very massive city. A lot of cool neighborhoods in Elk Grove that I'm sure we haven't seen, and there's a lot of really cool areas. So one of the cool things about this particular neighborhood is its close proximity to Highway 99. So it's great if you've got to go into downtown Sacramento for work. It's also great if you've got to go back down to visit family or friends that are in the Bay Area, and if you're going to go over to like kind of like that East Bay area, Danville, Pleasanton, San Ramon, kind of that area. But Elk Grove is really good in proximity for some of those things. So to give you a little bit of perspective about some of the neighborhood in here, we're actually going to come away from the little water trail area, which is nice because there's the tons of different walking trails and biking trails that are around that little waterway area. But the cool thing about this particular neighborhood is a lot of these homes are going to kind of be built between the late 80s, kind of like 87, 88, 89, up until about the mid 90s. So they're going to be on very spacious type lots. You're going to have really nice kind of ranch style properties. You've got really cool ones. This one right across the street from me is just a super cool. You've got like a really nice porch. Now, at the time of recording these videos, a lot of the homes in these areas are going to be anywhere between 3 and 5 bedroom homes. They're going to range in size from about 1,900 square feet on the low side all the way up to about 3,000 square feet. And the price disparity in this neighborhood is going to be anywhere between the high 500s, and we've seen some of these homes that go in here that are a little bit bigger in square footage go all the way into the mid 800s. But just a super cool neighborhood. Now, the cool thing is we found this neighborhood from some clients of ours. There's just not a ton of homes that become available for sale in Camden Park, so it has a really low turnover rate. So we just haven't really had too many people wanted to come check out properties in this neighborhood. So it was actually a really cool experience, because this is a neighborhood that, you know, sometimes you just stumble upon neighborhoods that you don't really know about until you're in them. There's just so much in the greater Sacramento metro as far as cool neighborhoods and popular neighborhoods and popular houses and different things like that that are just really cool to check out. Now, we kind of touched on it a little bit as it relates to kind of location. Now that's going to lead us into our second pro that we're going to talk about on this video, which is going to be proximity to Sacramento, or really just kind of proximity in general. I think that's the reason why a lot of you guys really reach out to us about Elk Grove, because it tends to be the closest city to Sacramento without living in Sacramento. So it's only going to be about a 15 to 25 minute drive to downtown Sacramento if you have to go in there for work. It's also going to be located conveniently on the south side of Sacramento, meaning that if you have to go into the Bay Area because your hybrid remote job still requires you a couple of days in throughout the week, it's actually really nice. So that is going to be one of the benefits to Elk Grove, is your overall proximity to downtown Sacramento. This particular neighborhood in general is actually going to have really good proximity to the freeway, and it's just going to be, all in all, you're going to have a lot of easy freeway access to get south if you've got to go down to the Bay, or if you've got to go north back into Sacramento, you're going to be pretty easily located there. Now, leading us into our third con is actually going to be the traffic and commuting and kind of getting across the city. So Elk Grove is the second largest city behind Sacramento. So massively from east to west, it is going to be a pretty big city. So traffic across the city, if you've got to go from one side of Elk Grove to the other, so let's say you're going from Laguna West on the west side and you're coming all the way to like Sheldon on the east side, that could take you alone just about 25 to 30 minutes just to make it from one side of the city to the other. A lot of that's going to be traffic, stoplights, stop signs, street signs, different things like that. We are starting to see a lot more people move to this area, so traffic is starting to get congested a little bit more. So the nice thing is with Elk Grove, you are going to have the shortest distance if you've got to go into downtown Sacramento, but you are still going to be dealing with some commuting times in the early morning when people are headed to work from about 6:30 all the way up until about 9. And then you're going to be dealing with the same kind of commuting travel coming home from work, which is going to probably start around 4 o'clock and go all the way till about 6 o'clock in the evening. Now, we have had a lot of you guys come from Southern California or the Bay Area, and I will say it is one of those things where you guys still kind of laugh at us because we think our traffic is bad, but in reality, we don't have a decent reference point to compare it to. But if you're a local, it is starting to get a little bit worse. Even just today, kind of going around Elk Grove, the traffic was kind of crappy, but it is one of those things to kind of keep in mind as it relates to, one of the cons to consider for Elk Grove is Elk Grove has a lot of people moving to the area. It has a lot of population growth. It has a lot of room for population growth because it has a lot of new construction that's going to be towards the south side, but you are going to be dealing with increased traffic and increased kind of commuting travel. So I'm going to take you to our fourth neighborhood, and then Lauren is going to finish off with our fifth. All right, so the fourth neighborhood that we're actually going to be in, or we're going to take you to today in this video, is going to be the Peterson Park Laguna Creek neighborhood. Now, locationally, this is going to be kind of between Franklin Boulevard and Bruceville Road, but I would say the cool thing about this neighborhood is you're actually going to be pretty close to one of Elk Grove's only 18-hole golf courses in the entire city, which is going to be the Valley High Country Club. Now, it is a country club. It's not going to be a public area, but the cool thing is this particular area of Elk Grove, you're going to have a ton of really cool parks. You're going to have this neighborhood that's going to have these little kind of inlets to the neighborhood. So there's this nice long park called Peterson Park. And then at the end of all of these cul-de-sacs, or the end of all of these streets, you're going to have kind of an inlet to get access to this park. So it's going to be probably 10 or 15 acres worth of park that you can kind of check out, but it's actually a really cool neighborhood, really cool area of Elk Grove. Now, you are going to have access to Laguna Creek High School from this neighborhood. You're also going to have access to Franklin, which is going to be a little bit further south. And some of the types of homes that you're going to see in this neighborhood are going to be anywhere from 3 to 6 bedrooms. They're going to range anywhere from about 1,500 square feet all the way up to about 3,200 square feet, ranging in price from about the low 600s all the way to the mid 800s right now. But it's just another one of those like really clean neighborhood, you kind of look around this court. So you've got some really nice houses that are going to kind of butt up to this park. And then you're going to have that kind of trailhead like we were talking about, that you can get access to this massive park. So down there, you're going to have a really cool playground. It seems like everybody is out today. The weather is absolutely beautiful. Now, the assigned schools are really good in this area. However, one of the things that we want to kind of keep broad and general to the fact of this video is each neighborhood is going to have its own elementary, junior high, and high school associated with it. And with Elk Grove being so big, or being as massive as it is, you know, this is going to be one of those things where we're going to tell you that phone number is going to be popping up. Go ahead and reach out to us, so that way if you are interested in moving or relocating to Elk Grove, we can actually jump on a Zoom call. We can start to dive into your goals. We can actually start to dive into some of the neighborhoods and actually start to dial in and figure out what neighborhoods are going to be assigned to which schools, elementary, middle, and high school, right? So you're gonna have 6 or 7 different high schools. You're gonna have a whole bunch of middle schools, a whole bunch of elementary schools. Elementaries are gonna be probably within walking distance to a lot of these neighborhoods, but you are gonna have a ton of different options. So the fourth pro, since we're on our fourth neighborhood of this video, is going to be all of the different parks and recreations that Elk Grove has to offer. So not that any of the other cities that we've covered on this channel is unique, that where Elk Grove has these parks and recs and these other cities don't, but you know, Elk Grove, similar to Roseville, similar to Folsom, is you are going to have massive amounts of parks throughout the entire city. So like we're at Peterson Park right now. There's a huge park. One of the other mega parks that a lot of people like to go to or bring their kids to is going to be the Elk Grove Regional Park. We've showcased that a couple of times on some of these videos as well. But the parks and recreation throughout the entire city is going to be awesome. So all of the city parks are going to be really maintained. They're going to be really nice. You know, very well taken care of. And that's kind of the nice thing about Elk Grove, is that, you know, usually just these areas are really well kept. Now, as it relates to the recreation of the city, you're going to have sports, you're going to have soccer, swim, you're going to have all the different kid activities, Pop Warner football, junior thundering herd. You're going to have every different sport that you can think of imaginable for kids. And I would say the cool thing is, there's actually a ton of different rec leagues for adults too. So if you're new to an area, we say that this is probably the best thing for kids as well as for adults. So if you want to make friends, or if you want to get to know people in your area relatively quick, or if you want to get your kids established in a good friend group, get them involved in sports as fast as possible. That's going to be one of the big things that we tell a lot of people is sports. You're going to build in some immediate friendships as it relates to your kids, especially as they're moving to a brand new area that they have no clue as it relates to kind of friends. And it's going to be a great opportunity for you guys to actually get to meet some new friends as well too when you're moving to a brand new area. So that's going to be one of the main things that we're going to tell people when they're moving to an area, is get involved in like just different recreation, different clubs, different things that you can do. But Elk Grove is going to have a lot of different options as it relates to parks and recreation. Now, jumping into our fourth con for the video, and that's going to be the lack of public transportation and the fact of car dependency. So we touched on it a little bit when we talked about kind of commuting and traffic and all the new people that are moving to the area. But Elk Grove, in I would say the greater Sacramento metro, for the majority, is going to be, it's going to have a limited or lack of public transportation. I think we've touched on that a couple times. You've got a light rail system that comes to certain parts of Elk Grove, but not a lot. And if you're trying to go from Elk Grove to Sacramento, you're not going to have a ton of different options as it relates to bus, because Elk Grove, or the Sacramento metropolitan area, is going to be very spread out and very large in that regard. But you are going to be very car dependent. And then if you're just sticking within the city of Elk Grove, you are going to be needing a car. So Elk Grove being the second largest city, I think it's 42 square miles total. You're going to need a car if you're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to need a car if you're taking your kids to sports, especially if you're a little bit further outside of maybe the boundary lines for like bus systems for your kids, or if your kids are playing sports and the bus system's not going to be available to them after school. That's definitely going to be one of those things that you're going to need to factor in as it relates to now car dependency. The other thing that we want to touch on now, even though it is car dependent and, you know, we don't have a huge public transportation system, you know, we talk a lot about the fact that You know, even though Elk Grove has everything that you need, you don't necessarily have to be landlocked to Elk Grove. So if you have a favorite restaurant that's going to be in Sacramento, or you have a favorite restaurant that's going to be in another city, Roseville, Folsom, you know, up in Auburn, up in Placerville, a lot of times people will go and they'll travel because they like to go check out some other things. So the nice thing is even though our traffic is getting a little bit worse and we are car dependent here, we're still not that bad to where you don't want to go travel to a neighboring city because you have a favorite restaurant, or if you don't want to go travel to a neighboring area because something else is really cool. So Lauren's going to take you over to our last neighborhood, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So stick around.
All right, now the last neighborhood that we're going to share with you is probably by far my favorite neighborhood in Elk Grove, California. Now I'm here right now. You can kind of see behind me, this neighborhood has an awesome man-made lake. So the neighborhood that I'm in is actually Laguna West Lakeside. Now this neighborhood is amazing. Some of these houses are on the waterfront, which is really, really cool. Some of them have their own little mini like docks where you can take a paddle boat out. If you have a paddle boat, you can also go kayaking or stand-up paddleboarding, which is really, really cool. It just has a really cool vibe. There's a ton of sidewalks here in Laguna West. And the houses here can range. So you can find homes that are pretty affordable in this neighborhood. You can also find some pretty high-end expensive homes in here too if you get a really large home that's on the water. But this neighborhood is absolutely gorgeous. There's tons of walking trails and sidewalks throughout the entire neighborhood. It all kind of centers around Bartholomew Park in the center of Laguna West. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's tons of soccer fields. There's a school in here. There's also its own private park, which is really, really cool. I just love the feel and the vibe of this neighborhood. Now, on top of all of the activities that I said that you can do here, you can also go bass fishing in this lake, which is really, really cool. So if you've got kiddos that like to fish, or maybe you like to fish, so much fun, so many different fun things to do in this neighborhood that I absolutely love. And it's gorgeous. Like, all the homes are really well kept. You can kind of see them behind me. Now, like I said, homes in this neighborhood can range. So you can have anywhere from a 3 to a 5-bedroom home on the water or not on the water. Square footage ranges anywhere from 1,700 square feet up to 3,500 square feet or a little bit more than that. And prices in here can range too. So we have seen homes in this neighborhood that don't back up to the water. We have seen them go for, you know, in the upper 500,000s. But we've also seen them be listed and go for over $1 million in this neighborhood as well. So there is a range, there is a wide variety of things that you can find here. I love all of the access that they have. I love everything super close by, and just a great kind of community feel. They do also have their own clubhouse, which is really, really cool, that they do different events at throughout the year. So keep that in mind too, if this is the type of neighborhood that you're looking for. This neighborhood is a great neighborhood and definitely one of my favorites in all of Elk Grove. If I was gonna live in Elk Grove, this is the neighborhood I would be in. I don't know if Lance would agree with me, but this is definitely my favorite neighborhood in Elk Grove, California. All right, so moving on to another pro. Now, another pro for me for Elk Grove is gonna be affordable housing and quality of housing, as well as just the overall different types of housing that you can find here. So Elk Grove has something for everyone. They've got ranch rural properties. You've got, you know, waterfront property like we see here. You've also got homes that were built in the 1980s, 70s, and 60s. If you're looking for more of that kind of older, you know, ranch style home, you can find that here too. And prices really range in Elk Grove. So you can find homes that are around 500,000 all the way up to over $1 million. So there is something for everybody in Elk Grove, depending on what your budget is. You can find something here that you'll like. So the last con for me for Elk Grove is gonna be limited or lack of nightlife. So if you like to go out, if you like to party, if you like to kind of do the bar hop scene, you're not really gonna find a lot of that here. This is definitely gonna be more suburban, where things kind of shut down at 9:30, that kind of lifestyle. Now, but the one positive is if you do live in Elk Grove and the nightlife scene is your favorite thing, you are pretty close to Sacramento, so you can get to the nightlife there. So that is, I guess, a pro to that con, is that you do have that stuff close by if that's something that you're interested in. But that wraps up the last neighborhood for Elk Grove for us. So, you know, if you're listening to what I have to say, Laguna West is gonna be where it's at. I absolutely love it. But All of the neighborhoods that we've showcased so far today are great neighborhoods. They offer super clean, family-friendly vibes. And really just kind of comes down to what your style is and what you're into. All right, so that was it. That was our video on everything you need to know about Elk Grove, California, if you're thinking about moving here. There were definitely some great pros. There were definitely some cons to think about. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're thinking through some of these different areas. Now, maybe Elk Grove really struck home after this video and you're thinking, yep, I think that might be the right place. But maybe it wasn't. And if it wasn't, that's okay. We've done a ton of different videos on areas all around the greater Sacramento metro. And that's one thing that we actually specialize in, is helping you find the right area. Now, we like to tell our clients that you can find a house just about anywhere, but if you don't love that area, you're not gonna love where you live. So one of the things that we like to help people make sure of is that they're picking the right area.
Yeah, so that phone number is gonna be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So go ahead, shoot us a text, phone call, whatever you like to communicate with, so that way we can start to put together a game plan. We can hop on a Zoom call and we can start to figure out exactly what's gonna be the best area for you and your family if you're thinking about making the move to the greater Sacramento metro.